So guys, it finally happened. Yeah, that's right, they finally did it, okay? Like, a personal new record has been set with an all-time high, and we as a community have been waiting for this moment for so long, which is exactly why I'm proud to announce, ladies and gentlemen, the song Tonight by PinkPantheress debuts with 1.16 million streams on Spotify, which is her biggest debut on the platform ever. And with a personal high record like this, PinkPantheress actually joins the gals over at New Jeans in officially being inducted into the top 10 women in history. Just women in general. And personally, I think this is incredible news. And I don't know, I guess in other news, I guess Call of Duty did something where the player count went up for the weekend, I guess. I don't really know. All jokes aside though, guys, it is currently Sunday night, which means my challenge of giving the Call of Duty fanboys until the end of the weekend to see if the Call of Duty player count on Steam could increase past the peak of 112,000 on Steam could actually happen. And guys, I'm sure the gooch slickers out there will be extremely pleased to know that the player count did increase by a few thousand, meaning Call of Duty's current peak in 2025 is now officially a third of what Black Ops 6 launched with. Congratulations, guys. Real good job out there.
That's a new Special Olympics record, folks!
But guys, before we dive into this topic in depth, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor, alright? The Scatmaster's still under the weather, so if you're a gooch slicker, you're probably praying that I die, but if you're not, then please leave a like on today's video and subscribe if you're new. You know what to do down in the comments below. Hashtag Fooly50. We've been making great progress to 50,000 subscribers. But guys, check this out. A couple of videos ago, I told the gooch slickers that for Monday's video, which is today, that to avoid me completely and utterly annihilating every single gooch slicker in the comments section, any other content creators or people on Twitter, that throughout the weekend, they needed to increase the peak player count of Call of Duty on Steam past 112,000, which was the launch of Season 3 with Verdansk. And going into Friday, it wasn't looking good because the number actually depleted below 100,000 already, which was not a good sign. But then Saturday came along, and remember, the cope that everybody was giving me was that weekdays do not count. That means Monday through Friday, the numbers on Steam do not count because people are at work shaking ass on the corner. And therefore, we should only count the numbers from Saturday and Sunday because that's when most people are at home playing video games. So generously, I accepted that and said, okay, fine, I'll give you the weekend. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, on Saturday, when the numbers increased to 125 or 28,000, I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting there thinking, oh no, it's really about to happen. I'm about to take my first L in this community. And then Sunday came along and guys, it increased to 138,000, and I was truly sitting there like, oh shit, it's really gonna happen. It's really gonna happen. But maybe it's because I'm sick currently that I wasn't thinking thoroughly as a Scatmaster because, as anybody with brain cells would expect, that number from 138,000 in that single day of Sunday plummeted down at the time that I'm recording this video Sunday night to 41,000 players on Steam. And yes, I understand what the gooch slicker's cope is going to be. Oh, well, that's because everybody on Sunday night is going back to work in the morning and the kids are going back to school. Yes, brother, we all get it. We understand. What, do you want a cookie or what? Except, hold on, that logic doesn't really make sense because it still needs to be said, this low of 41,000 is actually the lowest it has ever been since the relaunch of Verdansk, which means between the launch of Thursday and Thursday night going into Friday, which is still a weekday, students are still going to school, people are still working their jobs, the lowest it got to with a peak of 112,000 from launch was 47,000. But here, going into a Monday, which is still, by your guys' definition and circumstances, a weekday where people are going to work and school, even though the peak shot up to 138,000, the floor dropped down to 41,000, which is lower than 47,000, which only tells me that, again, according to trends and the way statistics work, if you don't understand this portion, a statistics class will do you very well. That honeymoon phase, also that generous period that I gave everybody of Saturday and Sunday, really didn't amount to much, considering the record low actually dipped the lowest since Verdansk's launch on Thursday. And by your guys' logic, the Gooch Slickers' logic themselves, people are busy Monday through Friday, which means there will be less people playing Monday through Friday than Saturday and Sunday. So what are we to expect with these numbers going into a Monday through the next Friday? That's right, according to their logic, they're telling us that the numbers will actually drop. And it's not even their own logic, that's actually just the way trends work in statistics. Which leads me to my very bold statement. I think the honeymoon phase is actually going to be over quicker than a lot of people imagine, unless, and here is the big asterisk that I have for everybody, because I could actually see this happening, unless there is a very fun event or update or something cool that happens on Verdansk and Warzone within the next week that could actually get us to a peak of at least maybe 150,000 is what I think would be at least somewhat acceptable-ish, kinda, maybe sorta. Because here's the next point that I wanted to make, since I saw a lot of people super coping with this. They seemingly think a peak of 138,000 on Steam is impressive. Guys, anything below 300,000 for something that you guys, the Gooch Slickers, dubbed the revival and savior of Call of Duty as a franchise, is not impressive. You guys set your own standard. I didn't set that standard. You guys did. And why is that bar set at 300,000? Because Black Ops 6 launched with 315,000 or something like that on Steam. Now again, if you want to make the argument that Steam doesn't count because it has the lowest player count, that's a fine statement, that's a fine claim. I appreciate the fact that you know how to utilize your ability to vocalize words, but please provide some supporting facts and evidence and proof to back up your claim, because as far as I'm concerned, and I challenged quite a few people to do this, not a single person was able to provide supporting proof or evidence of that claim being true. If you have that evidence, please tag it to me on Twitter, tag other content creators, or make your own YouTube video. If you don't do that, or you can't do it because there's no evidence to support that claim, kindly shut the hell up. Also, I've seen a lot of people try to say that Steam encompasses 5% of the entire player count of Call of Duty HQ. I don't think it's a very good idea for you to try to make that claim, especially with a number like 5%, because once you do the math, the other 95% to create that 100% would actually give you a player count that is not very impressive across all platforms put together.
Dumbass!
So I don't think you should do that. If you want to, I mean, go ahead, but the math is gonna tell you that that's still a very, very dog shit number. But hey man, it's your funeral. If you really want to do it, then get in the comments and you better smoke the ever-living dog shit out of me, because in the last few videos, anybody that's been trying to come at me like I'm some rage baiter and that they could prove me wrong, all of those people have been made out to look like absolute fools.
Hello, monkeys!
And I know I told a lot of people to maybe take a stats class because it would help them out with their statements on how trends work, but I'm starting to really think that some of you guys should take debate classes, because the shit that I'm reading in the comment section is utterly pathetic, okay? If you really have a comment for me and I respond to you, and you either don't have a response to that, or your following response is horrible, has nothing to do with anything, and it's just utter cope, do not bother commenting, man, because if I have time to do it, you're not winning that in the comments section. I don't care if it sounds arrogant. You can eat an entire horse cock. I've seen a lot of horrible takes in the comments section. Please, do better. And on the topic of doing better, let me just remind you that even if we had a peak of 138,000, which yes, is an increase of like 15 to 20,000 from launch day, very rough estimate obviously, that number still doesn't even come close to the peak of Black Ops 6, and it's like barely a fourth of what Warzone 2.0 launched with.
God damn!
And again, just going off of the Gooch Slicker's logic, okay, this is not my logic, these are literally your guys' words. Warzone 2 was such a horrible experience that you guys needed Verdansk to be re-released in order to quote-unquote save Call of Duty. Well, if Warzone 2's peak on Steam was 400,000 and the return of Verdansk's peak was 138,000. I mean, that doesn't really scream a return to form to me. That screams, wow, you really did all of that gooch licking going against people that you claim to be rage baiters about saving Call of Duty to only do a fourth of the numbers that you once complained about.
I'm retarded?
Once again, very good logic out of the COD community. Good job, guys. Also, need I remind you that when Fortnite OG returned, you guys remember what happened, right? It literally broke their overall record, period. Meaning the re-release of the OG Fortnite map actually garnered them a player count larger than they've ever had historically, even from the OG map itself from when it first released. So if Fortnite can break their own record, how is it that OG Verdansk can't even do a fourth of Warzone 2? Again, guys, I know I'm making it very difficult for the Gooch Slickers to understand and comprehend this, but that's kind of the point. Because if you really want to come out here talking about Call of Duty is saved, and you're trying to go against people like me for trying to give you guys a better product, then you better come out here with the facts, and you better be able to shut me the fuck up. But the truth is, none of these Gooch Slickers have been able to do that. I had another bundle buying retard tell me something stupid like Marvel Rivals is dead, when Marvel Rivals literally has a higher player count than the revival of Verdansk.
What the hell?
I mean, guys, the jokes really do write themselves. Call of Duty is not saved. The return to Verdansk numbers are not impressive whatsoever. If Steam is 5% of the entire population of Call of Duty, that is still a dog shit number. None of these Gooch Slickers have evidence to support their statements, and they're all dog shit at debating. Anyways, according to their logic, people are at school and work Monday through Friday, so we shouldn't count those Steam numbers. I mean, hey, good job cornering yourself. Thank you for that. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. What are your thoughts on the updated numbers after the weekend, especially with the low of 41,000 on Sunday night? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah, guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.
This ain't in my body.